On today's episode of the Real Recovery Podcast, episode number 98, we are honored to welcome Ebony. In part one of this powerful two-part conversation, Ebony shares the early chapters of her lived experience, including the roots of trauma, identity, and survival that shaped her path into addiction. We explore the realities of navigating pain, disconnection, and coping mechanisms long before recovery felt possible, while also highlighting the moments of awareness that began to crack things open. This episode is an honest, grounded look at how lived experience, resilience, and truth-telling lay the foundation for healing, and why understanding the why matters just as much as the recovery that follows.
Hello, and welcome to the Real Recovery Podcast. I'm Julie, your co-host. On this journey of healing and transformation, together with my co-host Peter, we dive into the heart of recovery, sharing stories that resonate with courage and inspiration.
That's right, Julie. Each episode is a new chapter in this vast narrative of recovery, and we're honored to bring them to you. But keep in mind, the perspectives you'll hear are for informational purposes only and may not reflect the views of the podcast or our partners.
Indeed, while these conversations can be a powerful part of your recovery toolkit, they are not substitute for professional medical advice. We encourage you to seek guidance from your healthcare provider for any treatment-related decisions.
And if you're facing an immediate crisis, or if you just need to talk to someone who understands, don't hesitate to call the Recovery Crisis Line at 503-223-8569. That number is also on our website. Help is available 24/7.
Now let's begin our episode
Of recovery, real recovery.
Hi, this is Julie from the Real Recovery Podcast.
And this is Peter, and tonight we are joined by
Ebony. And as I was saying, when you got here, I really have been waiting for this podcast for a long time. I heard your story or part of it. It's been almost 2 years since Recovery Out Loud, which was an event for me and Peter.
Yeah.
It was our first live event.
It was our initiation.
And our table got moved 3 times. We needed an outlet. And it was the first live event we did, which is not exactly easy during a podcast.
Yeah.
And the music.
The background noise was intense. And they wanted us to interview the performers and stuff. And I'm like, with all this noise, they're not going to hear them.
Yeah. And we were the last ones in the building waiting for
the final guy. Yeah.
the rapper.
Yeah. I can't remember his name now.
I forget his name too, but I
It
have
starts
his hat.
with an F.
Futuristic or something
Futuristic,
like that. There we
that's
go.
it.
Yeah, futuristic. We were waiting for him because Sarah wanted us to interview him. And so we waited for him.
Yeah.
And it was then the DJ started. And we were like, it was crazy. So that was when we met. It was that night. Excited to have you here.
And might I say that experience was a learning curve for myself too. I've done lots of speaking engagements, national television, so forth and so on. But that particular event was crazy because the crowd was like talking. There were a lot of moving parts. I couldn't hear myself. And then I'm like, am I even on track? And I felt like I was just talking myself into circles. And then I almost felt a little bit defeated because I didn't feel like I said what I wanted to say. And I didn't have the impact that I wanted the crowd to feel. So it's a little bit disheartening, but hey, I'm here for the experience. I learned a lot.
I will tell you, my friend Bo spoke that night as well. And he said to the crowd, "Are you listening?" And on the way out, I'm like, Bo, you're going to be on the podcast next week and we'll listen and we'll get your story out correctly.
Yeah.
Because I don't think that was the right crowd that night for the speakers. And you're right.
Yeah.
Because I felt so bad for him when he had to say, "Are you listening?" And his story's amazing. That's my bro. Like, I love him. And
I think the organizers even were like, this wasn't the right venue for how we scheduled everything. And
that was meant for
most of the crowd
meeting.
was there to hear people sing and perform on stage.
Exactly.
And they were just restless and
the Skylar Ray crowd.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And we had famous futuristic in the building too. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Just double it.
He was upstairs and I'm thinking, we should have recorded upstairs, right?
Yeah.
So you learn.
It was all good. Yeah.
We learned. And it's funny because we gave away like 5 shirts that night, which for us at the moment was like $1 million. Believe it or not, and bracelets. So it was an event, but we got to meet you and we got to meet some really cool people. And that was the blessing in all of it.
Yeah.
So let's do that night over again and let's give you the proper respect that you deserve. Your story is a miracle. And I understand. I really do. So I'm excited to share it for our listeners.
Yeah.
I really am. So
Appreciate you. I'm a little excited. I'm a little nervous.
Oh,
it's okay. In 5 minutes, you'll be cool. We'll be chilling. Don't worry.
Awesome. Where do I start? Would you like me to start?
How you got to where you needed recovery? I know that point. How did it start? I don't know what your childhood was like. Mine was different. It was definitely unique.
Yeah. Okay. Let's take it back. Let's take it back to some of my first childhood memories that I can remember. So growing up, I lived in Ohio. I was born in Florida, but I lived in Toledo, Ohio. We had 2 different houses bouncing back and forth from Indianapolis to Ohio. My mom was a prostitute and she was, what do they call them? Like the head mistress lady.
I don't know. I went
madam.
to prison for, I was going to say, I went to prison for promotion of prostitution. So
yeah, so she was the madam. My stepdad, who I always believed was my real dad, was obviously like the pimp. And we lived in this household where all of the ladies, the madam, and all of us children, we lived together. So
you
we
sure
were
she was madam, maybe bottom bitch? Because usually there's usually not a madam to a pimp.
Yeah, she had the ring. They were married, and she was the one who like trained everybody and like all the things. Crazy. It was a time. That was like back when Cadillacs were like candy painted and shit. So I remember when my mom wasn't working and wasn't out, we would have a few days at the house every so often. I can't really recall how often, but it wasn't a lot. But she used to ride me around in this pink Cadillac. I used to love it. And she used to go get me this Hubba Bubba bubble gum, the blue sour one. Ooh, every time I eat that gum, it's super nostalgic. Anyways.
No, I know about Cadillacs. There was this club on MLK called the Cadillac Cafe.
Oh, yeah, it's still there.
And it's where the pizza place is, but there used to be like 10 Cadillacs in the parking lot. And it's where all the pimps went. And before marijuana was legal, this is when I was at PSU, you used to be able to go around the building and there'd be like 20 guys with little 10 bags that you could buy.
Oh, no.
And
the 10 bags as big as your pinky.
Yeah, and I used to think I was really cool because I would go over there and I had my guy that I liked the best. But yeah.
You're shugging your friends, watch this.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. Yeah.
But yeah, so my mom obviously was working all the time. She was what they would call like a lot lizard. So she worked at the truck stops and whatnot, primarily her and our household. We used to stay at these babysitters' houses. Can't recall any of their names, but remember them and their household very vividly. But some of my like remembrance with them was back in my day or back in my time, like kids used to get chickenpox and stuff. And my time came, and this was like somebody had chickenpox, the whole neighborhood of kids was like rubbing up on that child. But I was like one of the last kids to get chickenpox. I can't recall how old I was, probably 3 or 4 at this time. And they used to treat me very different because I was my mom's child. I was treated very poorly, and not in a good, different, like horrible. The kids used to do things to get me in trouble and all types of stuff. But when I had chickenpox, those beds that used to unfold and they were like creaky.
Yeah.
Like those spring beds, cottages or something like that.
Yeah, they're like the hotel beds that you get when you need an extra bed in the room.
I know what you're talking about.
I think they're cots. I don't know what they are, but it's like you can roll them around and stuff. And when I had chickenpox, this was like one of the worst things that ever happened to me. And they stripped me naked. And they tied me up to this cottage thing with the mittens, but tied me to the bed so I couldn't scratch myself. And I'm there miserable.
Oh my God.
Wiggling around like a freaking worm. And all of the kids and everybody, like the grown-ups in the house too, like they used to come up and poke me and itch little spots. When you itch it would just intensify the itch.
Yeah.
So I would be sitting there screaming and humiliated. And all of these kids would just be laughing at me. And it was very humiliating. I think I sat in that cottage bed for 2 to 3 days straight. And then my mom eventually came back to come pick me up after her very long shift and was like going crazy on them, cussing them out. My mom was super gangster. She's from CVC out here, super gangster or whatever. And she brought me back to the house and gave me one of these like pink baths, that pink weird stuff you put on your body. And
Calamine lotion.
Yes. Yeah. God.
Looks like Pepto-Bismol. Yeah. No.
But yeah, and I used to tell her, like, those kids are really mean to me. Like, everybody here is mean to me. And she used to be like, this is all we can do. This is what we got. I'll talk to them. And things just never changed. It never, ever changed. And I was younger, I think around before she dropped me off here in Oregon, we were at the babysitter's house and we were sleeping. There's 15 of us kids. I have a bunch of like unclaimed brothers and sisters because we're not biological, but growing up, we thought we were brothers and sisters by blood. But we ended up getting raided in the middle of the night, which was like so scary because you have these people in these alien looking outfits, flashlights, they're flipping shit. They're literally pulling each and every one of us kids out of this house. And I'm like, what's going on? What's going on? And I have my 2 favorite brothers. I won't name names because obviously it's very traumatic for them probably too, if they remember. And I was like, what's going on? What's going on? And in that lifestyle, I was very advanced. I was very quiet and like picked on, but I was very aware. Like I knew what was going on. I just couldn't put a name on things. And they took us out and the officer was like, where's Bones? Where's Bones? And that's like the male of whatever was going on in that house, boyfriend, somebody, something. And they said that he was allergic to kids. And so we ended up going to this group home, all of us, and I refused to separate from my brothers and sisters. But going into that group home was probably one of the best childhood memories I have ever had. It was so awesome. They had these parachutes that you can run under. Oh my gosh. And just like experiencing that and just playing with a bunch of kids. And it was just like this huge sleepover.
Being a kid.
Yes, being a kid. It was the best. I just got goosebumps. It was the best memory I've ever had while my mom was alive, at least. And at that time, I used to tell my mom, hey, I know what you're doing and you're going to die. At a very young age, I could feel it in my bones. Like now that I'm older, I've realized that I've always been a little bit like spiritually gifted, like in the sense of like knowing things. And I used to tell her all the time, you're going to die. Can you please stop? Can we please leave? And for a while, my mom used to get the courage to leave her situation. And I just have these like weird memories of running through parking lots, of truck stops and like running through parking garages, barefoot, no coats, no nothing. My mom would be terrified and we're running from my stepdad to get away from him. And we would end up in these random hotels and end up in these random trucks just traveling across the world. And I used to think to myself, like, what if one of these guys just kills us? You know what I mean?
No.
I'm so defenseless.
I do know what you mean.
And
sadly.
I just wanted like my mom to protect me. And I just didn't feel protected at all, even though I knew how gangster she was. Like, it hurt so much, like not knowing what tomorrow was going to look like or what the next second was even going to look like. And eventually she ended up bringing me out here. And I think what really drew the line is we were staying at a hotel one time and she had got some girls from the house to come with her. They like had this conspiracy. They're all going to run away together and go off, do their own things. And they had me and my 2 brothers. It was going to be like this big ordeal, right? We're going to be this one big happy family, just us. And they had brought in a new girl at this hotel. And the new girl ended up getting lippy with my mom. My mom had a very short fuse all of the time. Don't play with her. Don't talk to her crazy. Don't look at her any type of way, male, female. She's going to get you type of situation. And this girl thought she was slick and said some stuff and the room got very quiet. And my mom ended up killing this woman in this hotel in front of all of us. There's really nothing anybody could do about it. Like those girls would not dare to stop my mom. And I honestly don't think that my mom meant to take it that far, but it did go that far. And we ended up fleeing that hotel room with the clothes that were on our back, which was like minimal to nothing. And I remember just running for hours, it felt like, obviously, but like no shoes, no anything. We ended up getting into some dude's truck and they dropped me off out here. And my mom stayed for, I think, 3 days. When I came out here to Oregon, I lived in Lincoln City. with my mom, which is her grandma, my grandma, which is her mom.
Lincoln City is one of my favorite places in the whole world.
Really?
Yeah.
Me too. I
have
love
some
it
drama
there.
with Lincoln City, man.
I bet you have some drama everywhere, girl.
Yeah, I love it. It's like
I can eat my way from one end of the beach to the other, for real. Pier 101. Yeah.
man, I love Lincoln City just because it reminds me of my grandma Nadine. We used to walk up and down the beach and collect agates and stuff. And I had this, what is it called? Like a weird attachment to my mom, obviously, because every time she left, I felt like she was never going to come back.
Yeah.
But when the last time she left, I cried. I was like, please don't go. And she told me she was going to be back, and I never seen her again. So when she left, I, at a very young age, like grieved my mom. I was like, I just had a feeling in my body that I was just never going to see her again. And I didn't know who any of these people were. Like my grandma Nadine, like I lived with my uncles, her brothers and all that stuff. I didn't know who any of these people were, but it was great. Everybody embraced me with open arms, and I got to go outside and play with kids and stuff. It was amazing. I never wanted to be inside. I just wanted to experience like freedom and what it'd be like being a kid.
What a flip from where you were.
Yes.
You know?
It was crazy. And I didn't get whoopings all of a sudden. And in that household, our whoopings were really intense, like really intense. Yeah, like they should have been in jail intense type of situation, even for back in that time. Like they should have been in jail for the way they whooped us. But yeah, it was amazing. And I think my mom used to call me like randomly throughout the weeks or months, just check in. And at the time, like I hated her. Like I was very like, why did you not choose to stay with me and go back to that lifestyle? I haven't had you my whole life, which is like this very short amount of time. I think I came up here when I was maybe 6 or 7. And even when I was in her care, she was never around, and I'm in these unsafe situations and stuff. So when she would call, I would always choose to go and play with my friends instead of talking to her. And if I did talk to her, it'd be very short, very short. How are you? I'm okay. All right, bye. I want to go back outside. And not
I
even
so relate.
Yeah.
Yeah, seriously. I was dropped off at my situation was a little better, but not. My mother dropped me off at the nannies from 6 months to 11 and then brought me to Oregon. And I was like, what the fuck, Oregon? And I had huge resentments as well. And it was easier to be without her than with her at times. Yeah. And it was easier to be molested than to get hit.
Right. And that molestation thing we'll get to. I'll circle back to that. Don't let me forget. But where was I at? Oh, yeah. So about less than a year, I want to say 6 to 9 months max. I'm living my life. I'm having fun. I'm in what I believe is a great environment. My grandma was like my second chance at having a mom. And I'm like, I love her so much. Like she holds my whole heart, besides a little space for my kid. But like my grandma Nadine was like my savior. Yes. And it wasn't, now that like I'm older, like it wasn't as stable as I thought. And it wasn't as, and I found out later on in my life that my grandma was using, but I wouldn't have known. And she gave me just a complete opposite life of what I was living. So I'll take it. And no matter what it was, like she accepted me with open arms, couldn't afford to have me. The state was barely helping out. My mom, I don't know what the hell she was doing, but she's barely making it. And she didn't have to be responsible for me, but she did. And I knew it. And she never complained, never made me feel like a burden, never left me anywhere, like literally gave me everything, like love-wise.
That.
But not even 9 months or so later, my grandma gets this phone call. I'm sitting there like watching TV or something like That's So Raven or some shit. And she starts freaking out, just going crazy. And they turn off all the TVs. They turn off the radios. I couldn't listen or watch TV for almost a month. And I was like, what the heck is going on? And then eventually my grandma ends up telling me that my mom passed away. And I was like, oh, okay. Can I go outside and play now? Like, y'all are tripping. Can I watch TV? Like, I haven't been able to watch TV. But little do they know, like, I didn't shed a tear, nothing. And my family was actually concerned. I went to the funeral. I went to all the things and didn't shed not one tear. And I didn't speak at her funeral because I'm like, hey, yo, this is the life that she chose. I told her what was going to happen. She didn't believe me. And I live a new life now. And I don't know her. And now I'm older. I don't know you from Adam or Eve. And 2 years after that, my grandma ends up getting diagnosed with cancer for the second time. So before she had got me, she had just defeated breast cancer, like just one. And then here I come. And then 2 years later, she ended up getting lung cancer, which spread to her lymph nodes, which spread to her brain. So she deteriorated very fast.
That's the same with my mom.
So by the time I knew that she had cancer, I was already pretty much saying my goodbyes. And it sucked because I'm like, now I'm mad at God, and who I already had like a natural love for and like connection with without even trying or anybody telling me about God. Like, I just knew that he was my everything. And then like, how could you?
After everything.
How could you? This isn't fair. My heart
Life
was broke.
isn't fair sometimes, girl.
So then again, I'm going through a transition. Now I'm like living with family, my favorite cousins, my favorite aunt, my favorite uncle of all time. And then I could hear, and it's crazy, adults always think that kids aren't listening, and kids don't know, but we do. And I used to hear them all the time debating about where I was going to go and who was going to keep me. And I used to beg my favorites, please let me stay with you. Like, this is the home for me. They're very stable, successful, like all of these things. And I just knew that if I would have stayed there, my life, I could envision my life at that age at their house, like how different my world was going to be, like as I progressed in life. And for whatever reason, they couldn't take me. And I understand. They had kids of their own and I'm not their responsibility. So I ended up going with my grandpa, which is my mom's dad. And to my understanding, I don't know this man. I don't know who he is. So I'm being transitioned again into a household and I don't know who these people are. And I'm forced, is what it felt like. And I'm just like, why doesn't anybody want me? And the talk of my family is my mom was the most favorite kid, even though she was rebellious and all of these things. Like, people speak so highly about my mom and how much they love her and how much this and this. And I'm like,
what mom do you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you guys love her so much, like, why won't you take me? Why am I going in? I spent months while my grandma was decaying in the hospital, building a connection and a bond with this family and this household. And now I have to listen to you guys discuss where I'm going to go and where I'm not going to go.
Boy.
And I'm sitting here begging for you guys to take me and you won't, for whatever reasons. Now I forgive them. But like that like ultimately broke
You forgive,
me in
but
half.
do you forget?
Yeah, it's deep.
It is. It's seriously, you can forgive, but
Jesus.
I hear that too. You can forgive, but I don't know that you ever forget.
Yeah.
I think it's fine.
And that's the hardest part. And I'll circle back around to that too, because that was a very life-changing moment for me in regards to forgiving my family for my own healing. So yeah, I ended up coming to my grandpa's house and didn't know him. It was a hoarder house, like very bad fecal matter from like animals on the floor. Like when a floor carpet is so dirty, like it is
Gross.
like there's no carpet.
Yeah.
It like turns into cement.
Yeah.
It was like that. It's horrible. They smoked in the house. It was so scary. There was so much negative energy attached to that house. I was terrified of that house. And when I moved into that neighborhood, I eventually ended up making friends in the neighborhood. And I told them where I live. And they're like, you live in the monster house?
Oh.
Like, I was the monster house girl.
Oh.
And I had the scary grandpa. And my grandpa was like drunk all the time and causing havoc in the streets and was like connected to the Hells Angels and the Gypsy Jokers and stuff. Rumors had it was that he was racist. So like people couldn't believe that he had a little black girl in his house. And I was not well taken care of. And he himself, I found out later on in my life, once I got like into high school, I realized that he was himself on drugs. Didn't know which ones because I was not really exposed to drugs like that. But
If he's connected to the Gypsy Jokers, girl.
I didn't know nothing about that. But my escape from reality was going to hang out with my friends. I pretty much lived at my friend's house growing up because my household, like if my grandpa was always at the bar. Like back in the day, we had the landlines. I got the bar number memorized. They know my voice type of status. When are you going to be home? When's dinner going to be made? And then I eventually had to like start cooking dinner for myself, putting myself to bed, waking myself up for school, all of these things. He was there. I appreciate him to some degree. He didn't have to take me. I could have went into the system, but he took me in and he tried his best, is to my understanding, with what he had and what he knew and where he was at in life.
And did he know any better? It seems like your mom, you know, from her parents, we all know how addiction, it goes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You come by it naturally.
Right. And do. So it makes sense, like, why she was in gangs, because, like, her dad was in gangs. And I don't hear a lot of stories about my grandma. And even if I did, like, She was so innocent to me. This girl could do no wrong. You know what I mean? I don't care what she did. She's perfect. She's an angel in my eyes. But yeah, I used to have to, my grandpa used to come home drunk all the time. And then that's when the racist slurs and stuff would come out, or he would try to be physical with me. But because of how I grew up, I know how to fight back. So now I'm in a household where I have to fight a drunk maniac all the time, or lock myself in my room to not be harassed, or just whatever it was, or watch him beat his wife, which is my second grandma, my third mom, but my second grandma. She was a lovely lady. I love her so much. She tried her best too. She was great. But that's the type of household that I lived in. I couldn't have friends over because my house was disgusting and I'm like embarrassed. And I had to be very cautious about the type of drunk my grandpa was. I could be outside. I had like really no rules unless his drunk meter was like too high. Then all the rules would come crashing down and they would just come out of thin air. And then I'd be like literally trying to defend myself as if my life depended on it. And then knowing I have nowhere to go. Like I had to do whatever or take whatever, because where am I going to sleep at night?
Yeah.
What a horrible choice.
It was. It really was. And I don't take pity on myself anymore. I feel like I used to. And during that phase of my life, when I was with my grandpa, my family that I was with during my whole grandma situation, they never reached out. They never like came to pick me up for powwow because my family is like Native or whatever. They never came to pick me up for powwow. They never tried to get me on the weekends, like never tried to do any of that stuff. And I was like so hurt. So I'm like, you guys just abandoned me.
That seems so odd too.
Doesn't it? And there was these rumors in my family for as long as I can remember that my grandpa was like a weirdo, like sex offender type of situation, when that he's molested certain people in my family, including my mom. And this was before the decision was made for me to go with him. So if you guys know this or assume this, why the fuck are you guys allowing me to come over here?
Yeah.
Why? Make it make sense. And then on top of that, you're not even going to check on me. You're not going to relieve me of a day, a weekend, like no birthday calls. This was back when MySpace was like up and popping. I wasn't even supposed to have one of those, but listen, I did anyways. But like no
Girl,
messages.
Now we're dating ourselves.
MySpace.
Yeah, seriously. But like nothing. And it was crazy because I loved them so much. And at that time, because not only did my mom, who I loved so much, show me that she didn't love me back, is what I felt like. And then I have this family who I loved so much, didn't love me back, and showed me that love to them was just, I don't even know how to describe it. Anyways, at a very young age, I started running away and selling my body on, what was that, Craigslist? Yeah, we're dating. We're going back now.
No, please. I worked for an escort service that was advertised in the phone book before the internet and MySpace existed.
That's hilarious.
That's the truth.
Hey, listen.
Like the truth. And like you had to get your ad in a year in advance. And here's the craziest thing. So you can't put like picture ads, right? And they're listed alphabetically. And at the end, I had 5 of them. But I started with absolutely the best because it would be listed first. No, absolutely the best. Boys for boys and girls for girls. So that would be listed. Like all the names I came up with, this was like, I don't know how high I was when I figured these names out, but it actually worked. And listing them, right? The one that was the last letter got the least amount of business.
Right.
Like they went straight down the line. It was fucking crazy.
That makes sense because that's how the Google search engine is.
And look and I thought I was brilliant by having the first one listed because you got the first shot at it.
Yeah.
And answering the phone because I sound so good on the phone.
Hello.
I really got the first shot at it. Yeah. So girl, Craigslist, nothing.
But imagine though, I'm on Craigslist at 12 years old.
No,
Jeez,
I can't.
Louise.
Yeah. Posting ads at 12 years old because of my conditions. And the only thing that I knew was what my mom showed me. She didn't have to like do the things in front of my face, but I knew what was going on. Just obviously couldn't put a name to anything when I was that little. But when I got a little bit older, you started learning some things. You're like, oh, that's what that is. And then so ultimately, I didn't have a plan when I started posting. I just knew that I needed some money. Or I just needed to escape. Or like, when I got older, I was like, why did I do those things? Because I repeated exactly what my mom did. And I always told myself, I'm never going to be like that. But I did that because I wanted to feel a sense of connection to my mom. And I really had to sit with myself, like in the beginning of my recovery, to figure out why that was. Like, why did I make those choices?
Do you know the statistics from, I might get emotional, but the statistics for you and I are 8% that make it to recovery. Your mom is the perfect example, because most children that are molested, or girls, not most children, but girls, and then in your environment and mine, prostitution is normal, okay? And then usually if you're involved in prostitution, it's jail, drugs, death. But to be successful, there's only 8% that make it.
Welcome to the 8% club.
That's what I'm saying. I didn't know this until just a couple of years ago, but I feel extremely lucky. But yeah, it's not, I don't even think it's an attachment to know your mom. I think it's survival, and it's what's accepted. And I think you know that with your body, you can get what you want. You can use it as a tool. It helps with money, drugs, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. It does. It helps with a lot of things. And I know for me, what helped me keep going in that field specifically is because, first of all, I'm in middle school. I have money all throughout high school.
That's like...
The kids thought I was cool shit. And like, I have this nickname that I've had forever, and it's Eb Money. And it's, Ebony, Eb Money is because she always got dough or whatever. And how I got it, nobody was really saying anything. Back in my time, and that in my day, in my community, that wasn't really normal. So my friends were like very fascinated about it. And I was also very rebellious. I didn't really give a fuck what anybody had to say. I was like, I'm going to do my own thing. You're either you're here for the ride or not.
Me too.
I've always had that mentality.
I was like your mom too. I'll whoop your ass.
Oh,
like
God.
in a heartbeat.
Same.
Yeah.
Same.
No.
Yeah.
Look, I still have those moments, but I have to tell you, I'm so good about talking things out now. It's a miracle. Yeah.
Listen, if you get me out of my element, just plan on never seeing or hearing from me again, because I can't.
Avoidance.
Yeah.
It's my number one.
Me too.
Yeah.
I can't. Like, I just cannot. And my body's all out of whack. I don't like that shit. I gotta go. You're not it. You're toxic, actually.
No, I understand. I'll cut you out with the quickness.
I'm amazed that you maintained school at that age, plus what you were doing, prostituting. And that's just, how did you manage that? It just seems so difficult for someone that young, even for someone old, to manage all of that.
Yeah, I get that. So I ran away, right, when I was in middle school one time, because I got into this big blow up with my grandpa. And my safe haven was school.
Okay.
And I went to school when I ran away. There was just no way in hell. That's where my friends are. That's where my community is. That's where I'm my most happiest. And like back in middle school, like, you're not skipping school. Like, we're not doing that. So I showed up to school and I got arrested for the first time at school for running away. And I was just baffled because I'm like, why would you guys arrest me for running away? But I'm showing up to, why would you take me out of this environment?
Because it's illegal to run away, girl.
Hi, gotcha. Wasn't. They just passed a law like shortly before then that it's not illegal to run away at a certain age. I think it's 12 years old or something like that. Yeah, and my grandpa tried to put me like in juvie, and this black dude with dreads was like, he like whispered to my grandpa, he's like, can't necessarily do that. We don't do that anymore, but I can scare her. And I'm like, I think I'm just like this complete thug already. Right. And I'm like, this nigga ain't gonna do shit. And I literally laughed in his face. And he's, I want to see you back here. And in my head, I'm like, why aren't people asking questions on like, why
did I run away?
Yes, why? Nobody ever asked me why. My teachers, and I showed up to school, but did I do my homework? Was I a really good student? Absolutely the fuck not. Like, I'm showing up to middle school high as hell, smelling like that power pack, and nobody asked any questions.
See, girl, I was a perfect student.
Yeah. Really?
Yes.
And I was bad as fuck. I was flipping desks. I was doing all types of shit, and nobody. And even till today, I'm like, why did I just felt like I was so ignored?
Why didn't DHS get involved then?
Why nothing? Nobody, no counselor, no principal, no
That's some
parents,
crazy
moms,
shit right there.
Nobody ever asked me What's going on? Are you okay? Let's talk about it. Like, nobody. And I was very open and like forthcoming and transparent with who I was and what I was dealing with. But nobody gave a fuck.
That is some crazy shit.
Yeah. And it's like at a very young age, I accepted the fact that nobody gives a fuck about you. You got to give a fuck about you. You make sure you're clothed, you're fed, you're happy, you're taken care of, because nobody's going to do this shit for you. And so many adults, I feel like, failed me in my childhood that I have this like hyper independence now that I'm like trying to my best. I can say I'm trying my best, and not every day is great, like with allowing people to help me or like.
Girl, easy days in recovery.
Yeah.
They're not always there.
They're not. And
I've been
just
through
can't.
more shit sober than ever before I got sober. And I went to prison. But I'm just telling you, but I always say this, and I'm part of the no matter what club. And no matter what, I don't fuck around.
Can't go back. I'm not doing it.
And if you fuck around, I don't fuck with you.
Okay.
Period. I don't hang out with you. I don't kick it with you. I admire your job. I don't know that I could do it. I'm being honest.
Why is it too triggering?
People using, and I don't want to use that. Luckily, that obsession has been removed. But I want to vomit if I see track marks. Yeah, I have a physical reaction. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, listen, I feel like this work is perfect for me because I think it's from like the trauma and stuff, but I have this like innate desire, like I'm compelled to help people who are struggling. Too. Like no matter what it is, I'm like, I can do that. Let me help you. I got all the answers in the world.
I love it.
Okay, don't jump ahead too fast because we got to get the story.
Yeah, sorry. But yeah, so I feel like that's when I started to become an addict, but without knowing I was an addict, and without doing hardcore drugs, because I was starting to smoke weed or whatever, like just to feel a sense of, this is fun. You're not really thinking of a whole lot. When I got into high school, obviously, I started stripping at 17. I was a dropout at every year of high school.
Couldn't do that, girl. I didn't have enough guts for that.
Shake it.
No. I seen you dancing on Instagram, though, girl.
Listen, that's so funny. But yeah, so I was a high school dropout every single year, which is insane because don't parents get in trouble when their kids don't show up to school? Like, why is no one... No, and I felt like I was crying out for help, but just like in different ways that like nobody came. Nobody knocked on the door. Nobody did nothing. I would literally register myself for school every single year.
Wow.
With no guardian. Nothing. Bro, here's my fucking student ID. I'm assigned on the paper. I know my address. And here I am in school. And then here I'm outside of school. It's like,
I'm really surprised you get put in foster care.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. But nobody ever asked any questions.
That is crazy.
The universe just do whatever.
You run away and you get arrested, you would think you get put in foster care.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
But instead of asking questions, they were trying to scare me. Like thinking that was going to work. Actually, asshole, I'll whip your ass. You know what I mean? And now I'm about to run away again just to prove a point.
Exactly. Go ahead.
And fucking did. Yeah. So then in high school, I was really doing my thug thizzle. I was outside. I was drinking every day. I was actually bringing alcohol to school and like getting on my friends drunk. I know I smelled like alcohol. I'm like sitting in these parents' or teachers' faces and like just doing my thing. Smell like weed, alcohol, fucked up.
And isn't there a thing like parent-teacher conference?
They never went. I've never had a parent-teacher conference.
Can you imagine not going with your child?
Oh my God, I can't. That's devastating.
I know.
That's so devastating. My daughter is like excited for parent-teacher conference. She's like, I can't wait for the teacher to tell you how good I'm doing. And I'm like, hell yeah, I'm here for it. Yeah. No, it's devastating. I even tried to play sports like all throughout middle school, elementary school, and high school. I played basketball. That's what saved me. Nobody showed up. Nobody came to watch me.
Nobody came to watch me, but I think that was my acceptance in school. Like, Peter doesn't know which team I'm talking about on a good day. But I probably have more sports knowledge than most men. And that is playing 3 sports. That was the thing that got me out of anything icky. And that made
your escape.
Yeah, and it made me popular, which made me accepted. Because I could throw a ball farther than you. I could shoot a ball better than you. I could hit a ball better than you. So That was my acceptance. I'm lucky. That's what kept me in school and not into drugs yet. That is crazy though. Like, I'm just sitting here tripping that there's no CSD, no fucking,
No drop-in. Don't like teachers.
I
and
like the
shoot.
state for you, just so you know, and the
Oh my
school
God.
system.
Yeah, they did me dirty, I feel like. And that's why I'm like super grateful for today, because I know that things were different. Even it was just like a few years ago. I want to say 10 to 15, 17-ish years ago during that time frame of me being in school. But things have changed. And I'm really excited for the kids who may need it, for somebody who is like me going through it. I have high hopes that somebody's going to ask questions and somebody's going to notice and somebody is going to get that kid help.
I think if they don't now, they get sued. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I also think that, and I'm hoping, because I've seen it go both ways, but I hope that there's a better system in place now. Yeah, I do, because you sure did slip through the cracks.
Yeah. In the community today, there's a better support system with what 4D does and some of the other clubs, I think.
Pathfinders, just there's a lot more resources out there than there was, but that's still bullshit, because I have to tell you, I went to school with a broken thumb. My mom hit me with a baton, and the basketball coach asked me why I couldn't play, and I was like, I didn't even think twice about answering. I didn't know what was going to happen from my answer. And this is a long time ago, girl, at Sunset in Beaverton. And I said, my mom broke my thumb. She hit me with the baton. And he said, go see the nurse. And next thing I know, the police are at school. And they took me into custody for 3 days until we went to court. And because she had never been in trouble, they let me go back. And I wanted to go back because I wanted to be in school and playing basketball. But they grabbed me, the quickness. So that is crazy. That is
just wild too, because
because I'm a lot older than you.
So things were way different too back then. There was
I'm just saying that,
lot
like,
more leeway room.
I slipped through the cracks probably in Massachusetts, but in Beaverton, like I said, just one time, and I probably would have answered differently had I known that was going to happen, because I got a lot of freedoms because my mom drank. Yeah.
Young, wild, and free. Okay.
Not quite that bad. She'd whoop your ass, but no. Yeah.
That's hilarious. Well, not hilarious, but the whooping ass part.
that I'm sitting here and my mind is boggled a little bit. Yeah.
And there was this one time too, like I could have sworn when there's house calls for domestic violence and there's kids present,
they take them into custody.
Bro, that happened so many times and I never got taken. Never. Literally never.
Wow.
They never questioned me, the police, nothing.
I'm sorry.
And I used to be like,
no, look,
deep
I'm
down,
really sorry.
Hey, yo, it's not your fault.
I know, but I am sad as a mom and a person. That's some fucked up shit.
It is. It really is. And I just wanted to be saved so bad. Yeah. But the world showed me that I wasn't worthy, I would say, of being saved.
You were more than worthy.
Is what I felt like. So I'm going to fast forward a little bit. I enter my adulthood, obviously, and I'm doing all types of young, wild, and free type stuff. I'm still prostituting and dancing, traveling the world, putting myself in high-risk situations, and so forth. And I ended up getting pregnant with my kid. And I remember when I just found out, I'm like in this grubby hotel, actually like in Beaverton off of the Max. Motel 6 over there.
Girl.
Right off the Max. Okay, that's where I found out I was pregnant. Now, let me tell you. I'm on stage.
Girl, if you have to go to Motel 6, no, see.
Okay, listen.
No,
yeah.
yes.
Yeah, it was a time. I was struggling around that time. I just got into coke at that time or whatever. Anyways, so I found out I was pregnant with Mystery, and I'm not a person who throws up at all. I know how to like control my body to some degree to make it come out the other end. All right. So when I was making it come out the front, I was like, oh shit, something's wrong. I got to figure this out. I went to the Dollar Tree that's like down the street, got some pregnancy tests, found out I was pregnant. And so I really contemplated on whether I was going to keep my kid or not, because I knew where I was at in life. And all I could see was my mom. And then all I could see was myself. And I'm like, damn, like I don't want to put my kid through that. And I didn't see anything promising for myself. I really could barely even see myself past like 23. And at the time I was 20. Because in my mind, I was going to die before the age of 27 because my mom died when she was 27. She got murdered. And because of how my life was going, I could just feel those chains. It was like, hey, yo, your time's coming. And so I really had to sit down and be like, am I going to be a good mom? Can I change my life? And what does that even look like? Because this is all I know. Right. And the last thing I
do I
want.
terminate the pregnancy and keep doing drugs, or do I stop doing drugs and have the baby?
And at that time, I didn't know that drugs were even a problem. I barely even knew what drugs were.
Oh, the doctor told me.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Hey, listen, the doctors never told me shit. I'm trying to tell you, nobody ever told me shit.
I went to the doctor to find out I was pregnant. There was no dollar store pregnancy test at that time.
Oh, no.
Yeah. And he said, you have two choices.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
What are they going to be? Yeah, if somebody was there, I probably would have terminated, to be honest. But I was able to sit with myself for a couple of days and figure it out. And I prayed to God. And I was like, hey, I know I don't fuck with you and you don't fuck with me or whatever, but I'm going to make a deal with you. And I'm going to just see what happens. So if you give me a girl, like, I swear I will change my life because I want to heal me. And it was weird throughout my whole pregnancy. I called her a girl. There was no guessing. There was no, oh, it might be a little boy. Like, no, it was a girl. And I ended up having a girl. So that was the moment I was like, okay, perfect. I know exactly what I'm going to do. And I enrolled to Southeast Works, got my GED. Pregnant, I was even bringing her up to the GED classes because eventually I had her and I had to continue my classes to graduate and stuff. It was amazing. My life was actually heading in a very positive direction. And then shortly after that, I slipped back into my old ways. I started dancing.
Hard.
I started doing drugs. I started drinking.
Money is hard to give up.
Yeah, especially when you're a single mom.
Earning an honest living, paying taxes can be fucked up and overwhelming at first.
Jesus.
When I can make $500 a pop, $1,000 a pop.
Yeah, what am I going to choose?
Work for $18 an hour and pay taxes.
Girl. And back then, I think minimum wage was like $10 or something. So I wasn't living in my own place. Like, I'm couch surfing with the infant. And then I found out I can get an apartment by dancing if I had the right type of, you can print off these papers from the clubs that you work at stating that you do work there. They can't necessarily say how much you make. And so I just freaking threw out a number out there. I took a chance and I got in. And I was like, this is dope. This is my first apartment ever. I think I'm like 21 at the time, going on 22. Oh, and then life just completely went into shambles after that. I ended up getting this, like, I had 3 jobs. I worked at Amazon, Plaid Pantry, and I was a dancer. And so I would hire like some of my friends' siblings who were teenagers to come be in-home babysitters for my daughter. And for a while, it was working out really good. I wasn't too strung out at the time. I was just like partying here or there. I was low-key an alcoholic though, but I was taking care of like my responsibilities. Was I the best mom? Probably not. But at that time, I wasn't the absolute worst, right? So I didn't really think I had any issues. While I was working at Amazon, I met this guy, madly in love with him. And so in love with
Amazon, man.
Okay, period. He was in the warehouse, okay? And them overnight hours, damn it. And we met actually because what was it? We were like on our lunch break or something. And I don't know, like our energy was just so drawn to each other. And just out of nowhere, I was like, hey, do you party type shit? Because I wanted to start a conversation and get this guy to start talking to me. And he partied. So I was like, all right, perfect. We went in his car, started partying up, literally glued to each other's hip for almost 5 years. This relationship was like off and on, like it just recently ended. I'm so sad to say, because like I had this like secret relationship-ish, situationship-ish with this man who was like a walking demon, like straight from hell. And I say that so confidently. And anyways, so I get all entangled up with him and my drug habit spun so far out of control because here I am placing love into somebody else, knowing, dang, I was in no position to do that at all. Every inch of, I don't even know how to describe it, went into this man. Not my kid, not me, not my responsibilities, solely him. He was my universe. He was a drug, like himself. And then on top of that, we did all the drugs together and we had all this quote unquote fun, right? But he used to abandon me and do weird shit and go back to his baby mom. And what do they call that? Where they're like,
I understand exactly what you're saying,
they give you a
except
little
for
bit.
mine was before the baby.
Yeah, mine was, my baby was little and she almost had a really like great mom at that time until I met him. And my life, what had happened was I was really struggling. And this was like in the beginning of my meth use. ish. I think I hit meth like one time at that time. So I wasn't really addicted to it. I just knew about it. So my brain was like on it, but not on it. I was really on coke with him and like a bunch of other black people drugs like Fizz and shit.
I don't know, girl, that they're black people drugs, but go ahead.
Yeah, we call them like black people drugs because there's like some drugs that are acceptable in our community without you being proclaimed as like a crackhead or some shit.
Stan, when I used meth, a lot of black people didn't use meth. It was, you could get dope from Black Fred or T-Mac, and they were exceptions because most black people were doing crack or coke.
Yeah.
That's back in the day, though.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So I do understand the difference.
Silly. Yeah. So he like abandoned me one time and I was really going through it and I really was relying on him to help me out. It was like an adult situation. I think my lights turned out and this was like my first apartment. I've never, for like non-payment, right? And I had like tricks and shit to figure it out. I just didn't know how to go about it. And I really needed his help on figuring it out. It was like my first time going through something like this. I really depended on him. He said he was going to come through and help me. It never did. So me and my daughter sat in my apartment for 3 days straight with the lights out. I had no way to feed her. Obviously, I was like getting pizza and stuff. And instead of using my logical brain to research this shit or just call the fucking company, I was just waiting and depending on him. And while I was doing that, all of these emotions started flooding back up of like abandonment, neglect. He doesn't care about me, just like everybody else, right? I love somebody and then they do weird shit.
Plus, did you ever have the right example?
Absolutely not.
Yeah, where was the role model? There wasn't one.
Jesus. And my heart was broke so bad. And then it just so happened that somebody was blowing this very big cloud smoke out their door. And at the time, I was also a very big stoner, right? And I'm like, oh, clouds, what? I'm going to bring
I always thought weed was better than getting high because I wasn't using a needle.
I didn't even know what a needle was, though, at that time. I never touched a needle. Thank God. Because I don't think I would be here today if I would have went there. And then so I'm going to bring my plate of Coke over there and I'm going to go to that house and we're going to exchange goods. Because I'm like in this feeling. And the people who I first used with was like, absolutely not. You're not using this. And I'm like, bet. What the hell? My heart's broke. All these things. I'm like super rebelling at this time. I think I got my lights turned on. Like this trick came over and helps me do it and paid for it and shit. And I was like, okay, this is great. But now I'm like in this, I don't give a fuck stage and I'm about to fuck shit up.
And I got lights.
Music blasting, all the things. And I'm just like, anyway. So I go over there and they're like, no. And I'm like, bet. Like you guys can't tell me what to do. I got this Coke. Whatever you're doing, I want some of that because those clouds are immaculate. And they begged me not to do it. And then I was like, do you want this or not? And then obviously they're like, yeah, we don't advise you to, but here's what you do. And immediately I fell in love with the process. I wouldn't like necessarily
Of what process?
Of smoking meth. Like the process. I hate to describe it because when I describe it, I feel like I'm glorifying it.
No, and I just didn't know. I agree with you. I just say IV drug user. Peter will tell you. I can get just again. Yeah. No, I'm cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Just like talking about the process.
It's not a glorified process because now there are no recreational drugs. There are none.
Fortunate and unfortunately.
Yeah.
Fortunate and unfortunately. But yeah, I fell in love with the process. So I was addicted before I even hit the shit. It was like the most outstanding thing that I've ever seen at that time of my life.
I believe when you're an addict, I believe you're addicted, period. I've never done heroin. I'm sure I'm a heroin addict. Okay. Right. I've never done fentanyl, but I'm sure I'm a fentanyl addict. I don't want to go test it out and find out and do the research, but I'm positive. Yeah. It's that escape. And I think until you deal with why are you trying to escape? I'm addicted to tennis shoes. Okay. Like for real. Like I can be addicted. I think addicts are addicted to more. Whatever makes them feel good.
Dopamine.
Can be sex, relationships, food, like whatever. And I think had I learned that earlier, that might have been really nice. I wouldn't have a closet of 40 pairs of shoes. But yeah.
Hey, listen.
I figured, hey, you could buy dope. I figured you could buy dope. You could get a bonus and buy some shoes. It sounded logical to me.
Hey, yeah.
I can justify a lot of things like that. You're not doing dope. this is a better solution.
Yeah, and it's like not affecting your health or
it's legal.
Yeah.
It's legal, man.
Yeah, you still gotta have a roof over your head. All of it's not hurting nobody. Maybe your bank sometimes, but like bills are still paid.
Not even that. So that was the bad part. Not even that.
That's even better. That's a win. That's a score. I'll take it.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, I wish I could do that, but
you will.
Yeah, one of these days, huh? Super excited. So yeah, instantly I became an addict. And then at that point I felt very invincible. Obviously, that's one of the like trademarks of doing meth is like that
courage.
Invincibility. Yes.
Undeniable courage.
Oh man, couldn't nobody tell me nothing. I was already like that before, but you mix a little bit of that in there. Oh,
I was brilliant.
Shit.
I became a businesswoman like no other.
That's funny. I don't know what I became, but it wasn't really anything. I just thought I was some shit that I really wasn't. Absolutely not. But I deteriorated like pretty quickly. Like I stopped working like within 30 days. Like I had 3 jobs. I was down to none. And then I want to say about 6 months into my addiction, I was being evicted. And then like shortly after that, I was homeless. So I spent a lot of my addiction houseless with my child. And like couch hopping from trap house to trap house with my child. And I didn't necessarily at the time like realize how horrible that was. But what makes me today remember or realize even more how horrible it was is like just yesterday my daughter was in the car and she was like, do you remember when we were sitting in the car and you told me that there were zombies outside? And this is like some shit that I told her when I was high as fuck because she wasn't going to sleep. And so long story short is like I ended up getting my kid taken towards the end of my addiction. Obviously, I got clean forcefully to get my child back. Super grateful for it.
Aren't you glad somebody stepped in for her?
Somebody, yes.
Like, aren't you like so grateful that somebody stepped in for her and you in a roundabout way?
Yeah, it definitely helped both of us.
I'm
Absolutely.
so grateful.
And yes. And when she tells me things, like she remembers so much. And she was little. Like I got on drugs when she like hardcore when she was 2. She got taken when she was 4. I got her back when she was 5. And the things that she remembers, I'm like, how, Sway? Like, how do you remember all of that? But like to her, like it had some type of emotional impact. And she told me, she was like, I don't know what made her bring this. Like she does this randomly. She'll just bring up these random memories. And it hurts so bad because I'm like, I had you in a car high as fuck and I'm telling you that there's zombies outside to scare you to go to sleep. And she even told me, she was like, that scared me like so bad. And I made her like sit in the back of the car because like I'm in the front of the car smoking drugs or whatever. And I thought that I was doing like her some type of due diligence of not smoking with her directly right next to me. But like obviously the fumes are in the same vicinity.
Yeah.
And not realizing that my daughter can't go to sleep because she's high as fuck off of my secondhand smoke. And I'm scaring her to death, like forcing her to go to bed.
I believe, though, the longer you walk the walk, those will fade.
Mm-hmm. I'm praying to God.
It's gonna, you just got to show her again and again. And then she's going to be like, let me tell you about my mom.
Yeah, she's very proud of me. Yeah, you guys seen
I've
on that
seen
stage, my daughter knows about addiction, recovery. Like she's here for it.
And she's beautiful.
So proud of people who changed her life because she's experienced it herself.
Well, and she knows she has a better life and she knows the difference.
So them taking her, that forced you or sparked you like I'm on her back, or how did that work that they got you motivated to get clean?
So there's a lot that goes into that because I want to say that her getting taken was my turning point, but it wasn't all the way.
As we wrap up part 1 of this powerful conversation with Ebony, we want to thank you for spending this time with us and for leaning into the early chapters of her story. This is just the beginning. In part 2, Ebony continues her journey, sharing what came next, how recovery took shape, and the work she's doing today. Be sure to join us next week for part 2 of this conversation, where the story deepens and the transformation continues.
That's a wrap on today's episode. Thanks to each and every one of you for lending us your ears and hearts. Your engagement is what fuels our passion and keeps this podcast thriving.
We cherish the moments we share here and hope they resonate with you, whether you're on a daily commute, at the gym, or just taking a moment for yourself.
Make sure to head over to our website at realrecoverypodcast.com. While you're there, subscribe to our newsletter for the latest insights and uplifting stories from our community delivered straight to your inbox.
Click that subscribe button on your favorite podcast player too, so you can keep up with every new episode. It's your support that keeps our conversation alive and meaningful.
And if our stories have touched you, consider using the donate button on our site. Your contributions, no matter the size, are deeply appreciated. They help us continue our mission of sharing hope and healing.
Join us beyond the podcast and follow our journey on social media. Find us on Instagram, Facebook, and on X, formerly known as Twitter. All the links are on our site, so you can stay connected and be a part of the Real Recovery community every day.
Your likes, shares, and comments not only spread the message of recovery, but also remind us that we're all in this together.
So, until we meet again, remember that recovery is a journey, not a destination, and we'll be here to accompany you every step of the way to recovery, real recovery.
Thanks for listening.